This is about the time that I went with my friends during the summer between high school graduation and freshman year of college, where we were just trying to live all of our crazy, wildest dreams before we had to enter the college world. And so this is when we went ghoul and demon and vampire hunting at the Byron Hot Springs Hotel, which is by where I live in Northern California in eastern Contra Costa County. We needed things that would protect us from, evil creatures. Then we collected up more of our friends, and we went driving in my old Honda Civic to the local Catholic church. We didn't really want to talk to a priest, so instead we just emptied out a liter-and-a-half bottle of Crystal Geyser and submerged it in the fountain outside the church. So we had cloves of garlic, holy water, wooden stakes, a bulletproof vest, and then also I kind of mythologized something in the evening, and I said that if we all would wear baseball caps, that would inhibit ghosts from entering our mind and possessing our brains. And when we finally got there was this Gatsby-esque hotel with a large walkway, and when you get inside, it's all dark and there's dust everywhere. But then you look at the staircase, and it's this giant marble staircase that branches off into two directions, kind of like Beauty and the Beast staircase style, So we go up there, and there's this old elevator shaft that kind of looks like it's the jaws of hell. Like there are pentagrams sprayed painted all around it. Now we're getting close to midnight when we hear these roaring engines, just hollering voices and gun shooting in the air, right? And we're just like, what's going on? We see these kids, maybe our age, maybe a little younger, riding out on 4x4s, so they're vroom, vroom, coming by. It looks like the cavalry is arriving, right? Firing up in the air and just making super loud noises. And so we said, well, you want to get a tour? And so we ended up just going from the bottom floor all the way up. There was this den of possums, but I think that their mother had given birth to them under a bunch of rubble. So I think the possums are trapped, and they make this hissing sound like that, right? Now the problem is that when you're dealing with drunk, angry, not the brightest teenagers, they get pretty violent when they actually believe that there might be vampire spawn. So they ended up picking up stones and started chucking them at the nest. And I was like, oh wait, don't do that. That's wrong, But we couldn't stop them. And at that point, we realized the situation had gone out of our hands, and we made a pretty hasty retreat. We look back in the distance, over our shoulders, and we see a giant plume of smoke right where the Byron Hot Springs Hotel had been. This was a thick pillar of smoke, kind of like Moses in the desert pillar of smoke. And when we get up the next morning, we all look at the local newspaper, and we end up calling each other because on the front page of the local section of the Contra Costa Times, it says Byron Hot Springs Hotel razed to the ground, or something like that. It was weird to know that we had been there the last night that a lot of the property had existed. I feel like I'm in this weird position where I'm not an accomplice, and yet somehow I'm more than a witness. And even though we had no direct involvement with the actual destruction caused, in one way it kind of begs the question, if we hadn't given a tour to those kids and kind of incited them to anger against the vampire nest, would they still have burned stuff down? And I don't know. But that's the way history's written, and that's my story.